as an occupational therapist, our topic is so broad. And what we need to do as OTs going into business is to niche down even within the realm of occupational therapy, right? My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist, and I'm here to bring you some business tips if you're an OT and you want to start your business and you're kind of struggling because man, OTs can just do so much, right? You can, like, I'm a certified hand therapist. I specialize in hands, right? Hands and arms. And even within the hand therapy space, you can be niche. But as an OT, we're taught, man, you could work with peds. And within peds, there's subspecialties of pediatrics, developmental delay, sensory integration, autism, like certain things within executive function, things like that. Within adult space, there's sports, there's hands, there's within those things, there's niches of very particular types of diagnoses that you could niche down into. In geriatric, there's whatchamacallit, staying in the home, just working with an older patient population with their aches and pains. I mean, it's endless, and that's just providing physical therapy. When you come into the online space, I mean, you can really explode it, right? And so this gets me really excited because I do believe that OTs can't, have such capacity. But here's the thing. No one knows really that much about occupational therapy, right? And so as you start to narrow down your niche, it becomes really hard as an occupational therapist because you're constantly thinking about OT, and you're in realms and spaces where they're like, well, OT this, OT that. And it makes it, it's a struggle. I don't know about you. You can leave me a comment below if you never struggled with it. Even with me, I struggled with narrowing down my niche within the OT, within the hand therapy space, right? And when you're first starting, you really want to narrow it down. You really want to narrow it down to what you do really, really well. So I was talking with someone who started their business, I want to say last year. Like, they've been doing some consulting and evaluations on the side, and then treatments and therapy, but always a little bit on the side, and always like, well, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I like. So because you are starting out and you have so many ideas, you just want to be able to do everything. I don't know about you, but I certainly had it as well, and it's a constant struggle for me too, because I don't know, it's exciting for me, and you think about growth, right? So you're just like trying to, think about, in my mind, I'm visualizing just money just floating everywhere, and you're just trying to sit here and grab everything, because it's so exciting, because everything has this huge potential. So it can be really tough to just say I'm going to focus on this, and I'm going to focus, over here to the left, right? So I was trying to, I did a one-on-one coaching session with her, and I was just like, let's work just on narrowing it down. And I'm going to share some of that with you today. But if it's something you are interested in working on, grab the links below. I've got my OT business course that's going on right now. You can grab more details about that. And also, if you're interested in any kind of one-on-one consultation, the link's going to be below for you as well. But here's what I'm going to share with you a little bit, because what happens is, you have so much that you want to do that you do nothing, right? And so that's the key struggle that I want to bring to your attention. You know that you need to niche down. You know that in order to get really good at something, you need to niche down. But it's like, how do you niche down? Because there's so much stuff. And I'm just so excited about everything, right? And what happens, the reason why you have to niche down is because what happens is you have so many ideas, you have so many things you want to do that sometimes it leads certain people to do nothing. And sometimes it leads people to do everything, but then their attention is all over the place. And so they never really gain traction. In both cases, you don't gain the traction that you need to show you that something can be successful, right? So in this consultation that I was doing, it was really causing her to lose money because she was like, but I can do this and I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And there was like 5 different things that she could do. So she couldn't build her website. She was like, well, I want to share on social media, but I don't, I don't know what to share because so she didn't even start her channel yet. She's just getting a little bit of work here and there via word of mouth. And the problem with that is you go through feast and famine. So you feast, like the referrals come and there's so much work that you don't even know what to do with yourself. And then all of a sudden it drops, and then you have no system in place that keeps the work coming in. So all of a sudden bottom drops out. People don't need the service anymore, but you have no new ones coming in. And so you create this feast or famine cycle, and it makes you feel really crappy because holy crap, I now I don't have that extra income I was counting on. Right. And so then you start going out and you're like, what do I do now? Oh, I'm gonna start the business for real now. But because you haven't been able to niche down, um, you haven't started anything, right? So one thing that I was, exploring with her was like, what are you really good at? It's not to say that when something comes to you for something else, you can't take it. You can take it if you want. I'm going to give you an example. What if you work with geriatric patients, right? Tend to work with 70s to 80s to 90s, right? That in itself can be a niche. I work with people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I work with people with, arthritis, chronic aging types of issues, and all of a sudden someone in their 50s is coming to me. Can you help them? 100% you can help them, right? If they've got the same issues and you feel confident that you can still help them, but you have narrowed yourself down to a particular age group. You could maybe niche down to a particular diagnosis, right? So this therapist, she is, in exploring with her, the treatment itself can be, can cause a lot of it's very time consuming, let's say. It's very time consuming. But what we found out through the various questions is that she's really good at evaluations and doing essentially like an audit of what's going on, right? And I actually had this with a psychologist as well. Like when I was looking for my son, getting diagnosed with ADHD, right? So the psychologist that I was working with, she only evaluated and gave an evaluation. Like she didn't do the treatment. She referred her treatments out. And so as a therapist, depending on what your niche is, you can, you know, do just the one thing that you're really good at doing. Right. And so I was like, oh, you could create essentially an audit, um, and, really do a thorough evaluation, tell somebody where something went wrong, what something is, you know, w- not just what is wrong, but why something is wrong, right? And then you could do the how to fix it. You're just not necessarily fixing it, right? You can give them that choice later if that's something you want, but You can be really good at something. I would say I'm really good at evaluations, right? So I'm really good because you're like, to me, I'm, when I'm working with a patient, I'm not in their body. You know, I can see from the outside all the imbalances, all the of the little nuances that they're not looking at. I can see their movements. I can see where the quality is, the quantity is. I can take a look at the whole thing because I'm outside of it looking in, and I can problem solve that. If you have an imbalance on the right and on the left from a top or bottom perspective. So I think as therapists, we can be really niche down and really good at something. And it's about coming down to that one thing that you're really good at doing. And then being able to put that into your marketing message, into your website that says, I'm really good at this one thing to get started. And what I'm talking about is when you narrow it down, it's to help you get started, right? And I say this as someone who's over a decade into business, that you're constantly doing it, because sometimes your niche within your niche needs to be focused, right? So I'll give you my own example. Is as a certified hand therapist, I was really good at post-surgical cases because in the hospital, I had tons of wound care cases, post-surgical cases. I have a lot of hospital experience. And so when I started, yeah, oh my God, I could do this, and I could do tendinitises, and I can treat the whole arm, and I can treat the whole body. It gets confusing. It gets really confusing, right? And so when it gets really confusing, you take no action. So you have to really pull back and say, what am I really good at doing? If I could only do one thing, what would it be? Like, ideally. It's not to say that you won't do other things, right? Don't lock yourself out of that. But really narrow it down so that you can get started. Like this therapist, she started her LLC, but since then she hasn't done anything. Since then she hasn't gone out and really created her website. She hasn't started her social media channels. And that is the problem in itself when you are confused about what you're doing. And that's why it's so important as an occupational therapist. Even though we can do so much, you've got to narrow it down. And when you are in person, you can narrow it down one way. When you're online, you have to narrow it down even further. What is the one thing that you could do, right? I see a lot of OTs wanting to go into the coaching space, and I love it. I think it's really awesome. But narrow down. So here is my disclaimer, because it's something I've seen too. When you narrow down, which is really awesome, also think about narrowing down within a niche that people know about and people have a need for. I think sometimes as OTs we can, and I think this is a little bit more than beyond just OTs, but sometimes we can try to be so different, and you're like, I've never seen this done before, I'm gonna do it. And you niche it so far to the left that there's no market for that. And so to create that market can cause you to stall as well. So you want to niche down, but you want to niche down within I would say within the marketplace where there is an actual need. And you want to identify that need because you are so different and that nobody knows about you, then no one's going to come. They won't even know to find you, right? If they don't know to find you, then how do you get your business going? So those are the things that you can explore, and I want to encourage you to explore. But if you need more personalized help, The links are below, and you can come into my OT Business Corner world, get on my email list where I share more tips and advice. And also, if you're interested in my personalized help, the links are below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me some comments and let me know, was this helpful? And any further questions you have so that I can create more videos just like this. All right. Until next time. Peace.